Summer in the 70s, making lots of friends. He'd be out in the streets in a day and a night. Everybody had a chance, and the future seemed bright. Future seemed bright. Future seemed bright. Future seemed bright.
Well, I think that's got the voice about right. Welcome to the second of these shows, Runaround. Hello, people. Yes, who could forget that particular thing that I can't remember? Again, in the 70s, the UK version, it was an American thing first, but it was called Runaround. And featuring old Mike Reed there, of course, possible influence for a Viz character, who can tell? So yeah, it was a bit unusual because some people sort of said about Mike Reed that it was an odd choice to have for a kids program because he was quite abrasive. I think prior to that, he played um, a kind of a lovable rogue in a series called Yes, My Dear, which I never got actually. Or just as a little side note, the program called Yes, My Dear or Yus, My Dear was it was the first comedy I'd ever seen as a kid. And when you're a kid, especially again in the good hiding era, when you were always getting told off for things and things. So when you were told off, you were supposed to have learnt a lesson and that type of thing. In the fact that in Yes, My Dear, the husband was always being shouted at by his wife, and then you got this audience laughing. I just didn't get that, you know what I mean? And I said, well, because that's the first comedy I ever saw, the first canned laughter I ever saw. So it was like, to me, man, why does it have to be a laughing competition? Is what I called it. She says it's a comedy. Oh, right. Now I know what it is. Yeah. So what's a comedy? I thought comedy was some kind of rocket or something like that. But yeah, we digress slightly. Yes. The years when you're getting told off for things and you're getting shouted at, and then to have an audience laughing, adult laughing at somebody getting told off, that was basically what I didn't get. But yeah, Mike Reed was in that. It was a kind of it was like the dodgy brother. It was sort of like it was a bit of a lounge act, you know what I mean? Well, a bit of a loafer type of thing. But anyway, so Mike Reed suddenly having kind of longer Cliff Richard style, 80s Cliff Richard style hair, but in the 70s, and his shades. And yeah, so the gist of the game was that basically there was a massive team of kids. I believe uh, there weren't two teams of kids, but there were just lots of kids, and they all had a specific little section that they went back to after doing the run around bit. And if they got an answer right or something like that, they'd pick up a yellow ball, or maybe if they got um, an answer quite half right or something, they got a red ball. So they dropped those into their little tube that was to next to their section. Um, and in front of you, uh, it was all staged. It was a bit like a football thing. There was lots of sort of cheering and all this lot, and lots kind of horns going off. And Mike Reed, I've seen Mike Reed in gigs and things like that, and he hated the fact when people were clapping all the time. He just go like this, and all that sort of thing. So in this, it was incredibly noisy, and I think I think the mentality around it was like have it a bit like a sort of a football thing, where it's like, well, yeah, just go for it, you know what I mean? And what would happen? They would ask a question, and then there'd be kind of a board that's set out in front with three places you could queue up behind whatever the answer was. So you say it'll give you like multiple choice, three questions. What was so and so? Is it number one? So and so number two? So and so number three? So and so. And then you say, get ready, oh, and all these digital delay effects will come all that raw. And then all the kids would line up against the answer that they thought were right. And then there was a little sort of little pause moment and he used to shout, "Run around now!" And I think that was like to say, if you change your mind, quick, do it now. And then the arrows above these kind of things had handwritten, written answers on, the right answer would flash, and it was sort of like all DJ and things like that. So, but it never sounded like some shouting one, two, or three. It was like the number one sounded like wow, wow, wow. And then number two sounded like go, 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 go. And number three sounded like fen, 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 fen. But yeah, so there are these little arrows, and the answers were basically the same kind of font that more or less that you see on this title sequence that I've got on here. Um, so yeah, if certain things went wrong, I'm not entirely sure what, but there'd be a point where it's like, oh, get yourself down in the pit there. So yeah, if a kid had done wrong somehow, you get the abrasive might read kicking this kid out, and then there'd be sort of like a pit with these illuminated flickery bulb rotor switch kind of bars going down, and the kid would be up behind the pit there. You know what I mean? I think after a while they were allowed to come back out again, but I suppose that meant they were out of the game for it. They were sort of like out of the game for a short while. Um, what they also used to do as well, I think they did it a bit later on, was to start adding, adding little bits of interest. So they might come in with these, like all of a sudden these go karts have come onto the scene, and they be might read an interview them a wee bit, and so like from basically from what you heard in the interview, then you would be asked a question about that. Is it one, two, or three, and then you do the oh, and then, wow, all this sort of stuff going off again, and what happened after that. Um, Because yeah, I remember there's something about go karts. I remember there being like Formula One and Formula Six hovercraft type of things that were used for racing as well. And I think even Metal Mickey had an appearance on there, which might really cool, Mickey boy. And obviously, yeah, I'm just thinking for the less seasoned of us, you might just remember him as Frank Butcher from EastEnders, of course. I know, Pete. Um, but yeah, and what did happen eventually as well was they had this adjudicator appear because apparently like Mike Reeve were reading answers out wrong, and basically if he said something wrong, then you get a horn going off, and then this guy in the glasses in the corner would be saying, "No, what you actually meant to say was this." And I think the guy gave a little bit of a description of what that word was supposed to mean, or something like that. Because I remember the word decameter for one reason. It was like, answer one, is it a millimeter? Answer two, is it a centimeter? Or answer three, is it a decimeter? Then goes off like that, and like Mike Reeve just went, well, I don't know what his complaint is there, or something like that, and just completely ignored him and just went to the no bit. And then the last bit I will say about this is the prizes at the end. Okay, the winning kid, go on and go. I'm going to count these kids' balls. I'll rephrase that. The kids that have all gone back into their little segments, little sectioned off bits. It will count the balls that they dropped, that they put into their thing. The yellow ones and the red ones. I think the red ones were like worth 1 point. The yellow ones were worth 2 points. So whoever got the most points in the end, then you could get yourself a prize. And it's like, so he got himself a prize, and he'd be holding it up, way. And then at the end, Mike Reader do the total cabaret thing. Oh, come on, everyone, don't get yourself a prize then. So all the rest of them would go, an audience would be cheering. But what I did understand was the BBC. No, it weren't BBC, was it? Because it was on Southern Television, so it would have been an independent network thing. The kids would be go and get the best prizes that they could. But after the title sequence had gone up, someone like all the crew would come along, snatch the good prizes off them, and give them like some really crappy ass prize like fuzzy felts. So one of them might have picked up a Sky Electric and thought, "Oh fucking hell yeah!" And then like next year you're not having that, have these fuzzy felts instead. You know what I mean? But that was off camera. But that's apparently what did happen. I don't know if the one who won the most points was allowed to keep their prize, but the rest, no. So yeah, I think there was a kind of would I call it a spin-off or or something. It was something similar. That I think the CAD tried to do was like a run around Next Generation, and there was this. The presenter always had the microphone to the side of his mouth like that. Okay, Tom, we can win. Who's going to win a single? So you know what I mean. So you got the right point, and you got your single. But instead of like doing run around, it goes wah wah wah, go for it, boom 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 boom, ding. So yeah, that was called Go For It, but it was similar principle to run around. But yeah, the one about single, you know, Go For It was in the 80s. So yeah, so yeah. Any thoughts on that? I enjoyed your comment last time. So yeah, any further thoughts on that? Do let me know. And that's the end for now. So that was Run Around from the 70s. So I'll do some more quiz ones if anybody's got any ideas of what quiz shows. I'm doing quiz shows at the moment. I'll go on to other things, other types of shows later on. But yeah, quiz shows for the moment. So anybody from the 70s or 80s and think of anything, then let me know.